You'd think this would be an easy commandment to keep, but in our always-on-the-go culture, keeping Sabbath often equates to laziness. But is it lazy to keep a command even if the command is to rest? Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Thursday, July 28th, 2022. The fourth commandment is one of two commandments that prod us to do something rather than to refrain from something. It's a do this commandment rather than a don't do that commandment. One remarkable thing about this commandment is that the versions in Exodus and Deuteronomy differ. In case I hadn't pointed it out and you didn't know, the Ten Commandments appear in both Exodus 20 and in Deuteronomy 5. It might be helpful to flip between both versions to appreciate the differences more fully. Here's how the commandment appears in Exodus 20. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. You shall not do any work. You, your son or your daughter, your male or female slave, your livestock, or the alien resident in your towns. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that is in them, but rested the seventh day. Therefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and consecrated it. Now listen to the version from Deuteronomy 5. Observe the Sabbath day and keep it holy, as the Lord your God commanded you. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the seventh day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. You shall not do any work, you or your son or your daughter or your male or female slave or your ox or your donkey or any of your livestock or the resident alien in your towns, so that your male and female slave may rest as well as you. Remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out from there with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore the Lord your God commanded you to keep the Sabbath day. Did you catch the differences? Several, in fact. The more obvious difference is the reason given for the commandment. The Exodus version attaches the command to God's act of creation, where on the seventh day God rested from the labor of having created all that is. The Deuteronomy version, on the other hand, attaches the command to the fact that the people themselves were slaves in Egypt, where they may not have been permitted to rest from their labors. The more subtle difference in the two versions is the command verb itself. In Exodus, it is remember. In Deuteronomy, it is observe. It would be pretty easy to draw a distinction between these verbs, but in the end, it would be a distinction without a difference. For the act of remembering in Exodus is for the purpose of keeping the Sabbath. So whether it is observing or remembering, the effect is the same. Keep the Sabbath. Now, what is a Sabbath, and what does it mean to keep it? The basic idea of Sabbath is rest. Keeping it holy is to keep it set apart from the rest of the days of the week. The very idea behind this commandment is that God is aware that we are mortal and that we need to rest from our labors. It is God's grace embedded in law. There was a time, especially in the South, when Sunday was universally observed as a day of rest. So-called blue laws, some of which are still in effect, prohibited many activities on Sundays, including liquor sales, many retail sales, and many forms of entertainment. Many of you will still remember the days when Sundays were quiet, mostly filled with newspaper reading. But in our increasingly secularized world, there has been an enormous move to repeal most blue laws, often on the grounds that they are an unconstitutional encroachment of the church on the state. But go back to first principles, and the idea of the blue laws still makes a lot of sense: to provide laborers with a regular day of rest. Because the truth of the matter is this: we human beings were not built to labor nonstop. We require daily rest in the form of sleep, and we really do require a regular day to put our labors aside and rest our weary bones. But do we do it? I'm doubtful. Oh, we may do other things besides our daily routines, but many of us simply swap out one form of labor for another, never really giving ourselves the rest we need. Look, there's a reason that there is a commandment to rest, and a reason that it made it into the 10 Commandments. We are mortal, and if God needed rest after the 6 days of creation, surely we can allow ourselves to rest one day a week. Tomorrow, the first part of what Jesus quotes as the summary of the law. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.